Yo, what is up, guys? So we are back with more Beyblade X info. I stayed up super late last night in order to make the previous video, and I had to work in the morning, so there's a lot of stuff that I didn't see. They had the event where people could test out like the X stuff in person. I wasn't able to cover any of that, and some other information has come out, some other teasers and videos and stuff. So we're going to talk about it a little bit. I'm also going to talk about why I think that the direction that X is going to be the best for the series, is going to push the franchise forward more than any other series has thus far, in my opinion. I think that's the narrative that they're going for, and I think that lines up pretty well. So, yeah. First up, we've got the manga teaser. So we're going to watch this really quick, and then we're going to go through some of the frames and kind of talk about it a little bit. So this is the teaser for the X manga, which launches next month with a 70-page initial chapter, which is huge. It's a giant first chapter. Typically, first chapters are 40, 50 pages, like max. So pretty big. We've seen some new characters, or expanded on some of the characters that we saw last night. So a lot of cool stuff going on here, and we're going to talk about it. So yeah, it looks cool. Short little teaser, but there's a lot going on here. First up, we get the names of our main characters. So we've got Cosme Bird, who I guess is going to be one of the main characters. I'm guessing these guys are going to be part of a team. I think that's why we've got a lot of different protagonists. We've also seen characters use different Beyblades, or using the same Beyblades so far. So who's using what? I'm not 100% sure. We have seen some images of the packaging, which indicates what characters use what. I don't know if there's going to be, like, some characters are also going to have the same Beyblades, some of the background characters. Usually that happens. But we're only getting 4 releases for July? We're only getting 4 releases. So, and then we're getting recolors. So we're getting another release, potentially a 5th release, which is BXG01. We don't know what that is yet. And then we're getting an additional release, I believe, in August, and then we're getting Random Booster in September. I don't know if anything else has been announced yet. So we've got Cosme Bird. We've got Common X, who looks like a pretty interesting character. Obviously draws some inspiration from Kamen Rider, and probably Racer X from Speed Racer. And then we've got Nanaro Multi, who is a huge character in that she is going to be the first female main character at the get-go of a launch with a released Beyblade that is not locked behind a random booster. Takara's never done that before. Every female Beyblader has either not been produced by Takara, or it's been locked behind a random booster, a massive paywall. So very big, very cool. And she's got an interesting sort of plot device in that she's got, like, supposedly, from what we can sort of infer, she's got multiple personalities, which is why her name is Multi. So yeah, very cool. Let me cut this audio a little bit so we can kind of go through here and look at some of these images. You can stop some of this run through with all these sort of like inverted images of the panels, and you can invert them back to get sort of a look at what the actual panels look like. But if we go back here, we can see Multi, and you can see her kind of, it looks like her personality changes here. So we've got her kind of happy, and I don't know if she's supposed to be like a streamer or an idol or what, but then here she looks much more sinister. Very cool. I'm guessing maybe an idol with a microphone and stuff, but that is to be determined. We've got another background character here. This character looks female as well. It really looks like the tone of the manga is going to be more mature. This looks more like Shonen Jump-esque art. This does not look like Koro Koro to me. You know, of course, Promised Neverland was sort of older audience shonen manga. I think it was published in Shonen Jump. I could be wrong. It could be published in a different shonen magazine. But this is definitely more adult-looking art than we've seen previously for the Beyblade series. Also, not the typical art that you see in Koro Koro either. So, to me, it looks like the narrative for Beyblade is changing. It looks like they're going for a more mature theme, which I'm super down for. And that applies to everything, not just the manga, but it seems like they're trying to cater to a more serious tone with the franchise as a whole. And we'll cover that next. So there's an article out on Dengeki Hobby Web. So this is auto-translated, so it's a little wonky. But the main thing is that they're trying to push a different narrative for the Beyblade hobby. So they're really pushing this whole gear sports thing. This is supposed to be like the esports of toys. They're trying to actually move away from the terminology of it being a toy. It's supposed to transcend a toy at this point. So they said that this is supposed to be taking pieces from each generation and combining it together. Obviously, what we've seen right now is kind of limited customization, but it says that, you know, it's taking customization from Plastic Gen, it's taking the metal contacts from Metal Fight, and it's retaining the bursting gimmick from Beyblade Burst. Now, a lot of people are not happy about them continuing to burst, but from what I've seen from videos, it seems like bursting is much less common now. The system's been reworked, so doesn't appear to be any teeth anymore, so burst wear seems like it could be potentially fixed. And it seems like different types will have different burst resistances. So stamina, defense, attack are going to have different burst resistances intentionally. And it says, if anything, Beyblade X has a strong image of analog play, but as a new initiative, it has also realized fusion with digital. So this is in reference to the Battle Pass. They also mention that the more you play, the more points you can accumulate. We already knew that. You'll use that to get the sort of like the rare Baguette stuff. But in addition to that, we plan to implement online matches in the future. So you'll be able to battle with the app. I'm assuming you'll launch it and you'll have a digital battle, kind of similar to, I'm guessing, the Burst app that we currently have. But it's super cool because we could potentially get this in English. You know, it's not something that we've gotten, but we didn't get the previous Bayloggers, but this, with Takara really pushing this narrative of it being a sport, they're going to want all the regions to get the same product. And whether or not we get the Baylogger in the app, it's still up in the air, but I think there's a pretty good chance that we may, and we'll be able to battle people from different regions through this app. Now, whether or not that experience is great or not, I don't know. But it's cool that we may be getting that, because we may also potentially be able to get the rare Baguette stuff in America without having to go through all kinds of weird proxy stuff, because that is a pain to do. They're doing this whole digital thing. This is unimportant to me. This is big, though. So they're doing a Roblox crossover. For those of you that are interested in Roblox, that is too young for me, I think. It has been decided that the Masters Tournament will be held as Beyblade X on a stage that will increase attention. Competitions have been held before, but they were limited to elementary school students, and even when adults could participate, they were small. I'm guessing the numbers were small, or the events were small. So there was not one that every generation of Blader could participate in. However, this time it is planned to be held as a tournament in which everyone from children to adult can participate, and it is closer to something like an esports tournament, and the elements of extreme sports are also included. In addition, extravagant prizes are also planned. So that's big. That could mean potentially cash prizes? Extravagant prizes? That's to me, like, I'm assuming that's more than just, you know, a recolored Beyblade. Like, they could be giving big things away, you know, like, I don't know, video game consoles. They could be giving away cash prizes. They could be giving away trips to Japan. Who knows? But that's huge that they're opening this up to people of all ages. So this goes back to them pushing this sort of sport thing, this esports thing, because they're releasing these in all the different regions. So it makes sense for them to want to be able to include everybody. So we may be getting events on the western side of the world that is up to par with Takara Tomy and the events that they hold in Japan, which is amazing. And it's open to all ages, which is insane. That's so cool. I've never been able to participate in an official event, so to be able to potentially be able to do that is just awesome. So that's huge. We've got some pictures of the products here. We've got some stadiums as well. I know a lot of people are not liking the system right now. I would say more people like it than dislike it, but there's definitely a vocal group of people that are not into it so far. Now, initially, this whole gear strip thing, that whole gimmick, I was on the fence. But the more I've seen videos of battles and stuff, the more I'm on board. I think it looks pretty interesting. It looks pretty cool. I don't know. The system has to change. Like, it's got to evolve. You know, a lot of people that have entered into the franchise through Burst are very critical of this series right now. But you guys got to understand this has happened every generation. People who grew up with Plastic Gem were on the fence about Metal Fight. People who, you know, were into Metal Fight were on the fence about Burst. You know, there's a lot of contention around Burst when it came out. A lot of people did not like the system, still don't like the system. But it seems like they're investing a lot into this launch. They're really pushing it hard. There's a lot of money being pumped into the launch of this new series. So, yeah, a lot to look forward to, I feel like. Let's go back here and we'll take a look at some of the footage that we've seen so far, because there's some pretty cool stuff. So we've got some videos. The battles look really intense, guys. They look and they spin. They seem to keep going. So is it gimmicky? Yes, but I don't know. I think it looks pretty interesting. Now the stadium, initially I didn't notice these pockets, but so the point system is different. So you get, like, I think 1 point for getting someone into the pocket. You get 4 points, I believe, for knocking them out. I actually have a folder to pull that up, but we'll take a look at that in a minute. But overall, I don't know. I think it looks pretty cool. I think it looks... they look pretty impressive. You know, it might be a little too gimmicky for some people, but I think that what they're trying to do is very cool. I think them trying to push a more mature narrative for Beyblade as a hobby is great. I think if the anime is good and is a little more mature, I think that can bring in a lot of new players. Like, this could be great for the hobby. So the people who are on the fence about it, I would say give it a chance. You know, maybe try it out. A lot of people were mentioning that they were going to wait until after the pre-hybrid system. There may not be a next system. Like, this may not be a pre-hybrid system. This may be full launch. The anime apparently is going to start in the fall. So the manga launches next month. We're going to have about 4, maybe 5 chapters of the manga before the anime starts. So I don't know how likely it is that we're going to get an entire new system in the next 4 to 5 months after these launch. To me, it's pretty unlikely. Usually you've got about a year between the pre-hybrid stuff where, like, the anime launches, and then, you know, you've got this nice transition where they've gone through all this stuff for the first year, and, you know, they, you know, naturally progress into, like, from single layer to dual layer. But this, very close together. I don't think it's super likely that we're going to have a complete system change in, you know, 4 months, you know, from July. And that's if it launches in, like, November. It's very possible that the anime could start at the end of September, could be October. So we may not get a complete system revamp by the time the anime starts. So keep that in mind. If you guys are waiting for that, it may not happen. But yeah, overall, I think it looks pretty cool. I've got a folder set up here where we've got some additional images of things that I thought were interesting. So this is one of the screenshots from the manga teaser video that somebody re-inverted. So we've got another Beyblade here. This may be a future release. Looks pretty interesting. I'm not sure what's going on with this sort of center bit chip thing. I don't think there's an actual term for the centerpiece yet, but it looks like some little skulls or something. I'm not sure. Looks very kind of bulky, pretty round. Looks very defensive to me. So that's pretty cool. We've got some product images. So it looks like Wizard Arrow is going to be one of Multi's bays, and I say one of because she's going to have two. So she's getting the Wizard Arrow, and she's also getting, I believe, a recolor of this night one. Yeah. So Maruchi Nanaro. She's getting both of these Beyblades. So one for this personality and one for this personality. And then X-Cross, who is a character that we haven't seen really yet. We kind of saw him teased in a couple images, but this is going to be his Beyblade. And then Bird, this is going to be his Beyblade. So it looks like the little manga preview that we got is not necessarily going to dictate which Beyblades that they get. So according to the product images, these Beyblades correspond to these characters. So I imagine that there's going to be additional Beyblades that are going to be announced fairly quickly, like the Blue Dragon Beyblade that we got. The name slips my mind. But that one, I believe, is going to get probably released early on, either as, I think probably as the rare Bayget thing. Maybe we'll get a recolor for the BXG01. We don't have confirmation what that Beyblade is going to be yet. And then supposedly we're going to get another release in August, and then the random booster in September. So yeah, starting off, it'll be these 4 Beyblades, but very big that the launch, 2 of the Beyblades at launch of the 4 releases are going to be this character. So very cool. This character also, I think, looks pretty cool too. X-Cross. So Common X, I'm wondering if this is the same character maybe? So his jacket looks kind of similar to Common X. I don't know. We'll see. I'm really interested to read the manga. I think it's going to be pretty interesting. I think it's going to be pretty interesting. And then here's a breakdown of the point system. So spin finish can be 1 point, burst finish 2 points, over finish, which is going to be in the pockets, is going to be 2 points, and extreme finish, which is a KO out that big pocket, is going to be 3 points. And battles go up to 4 points. So you could potentially win, pretty quickly. You could get a fairly decent point lead by getting like an extreme finish, especially if your opponent is doing stamina and they've got 1 or 2 points or whatever. You could go high risk and go for attack and potentially end up with 6 points in 2 rounds. So pretty cool. The other thing here is in order to further evolve our own IP Beyblade, which has a strong global brand power, we plan to launch a series in Asia, Taiwan, Hong Kong, South Korea by the end of 2023, and then to other countries around the world. In addition, we will establish T Licensing Incorporated in New York, USA, which will handle licensing operations in regions centered on Europe, United States, and will start operations within this fiscal year. We will deliver play, including Beyblade, to the world. Beyblade X, for those of you guys who are not gathering what's happening here, it seems like Takara is really taking control over the licensing of their products and potentially the quality of distribution that we get. We don't know that they're distributing these products, but it seems like they're really getting involved in all of the products that are being dispersed. So whether or not Hasbro continues to distribute these is up in the air, but it seems like, given the narrative of Takara Tomy at this point, that they're going to ensure that we get the same product. Beyblade X aims to exceed the sales of the third generation Beyblade Burst, which shipped 170 million units worldwide, sales over 250 billion yen. First generation in 1999, 160 million units. Second generation Metal Fight, 190 million units. So they are trying to exceed 170 million units shipped worldwide. That's big. That's you know, I think it's possible. I think that they could do it, especially given sort of the scope of what they're doing with the marketing. I think, you know, like it's way less bubbly and cartoony. Everything is, you know, sort of black and white and very clean looking aesthetically as far as the logos and the text and everything that they're doing, the packaging. It seems like it looks less kiddie. So, you know, a lot of people are going to think, well, it's Beyblade, you know, it's still a toy or whatever. Takara's trying to move away from that. They're trying to move away from the conception, or I guess in their mind, misconception that this is just a toy. You know, similar to like the hobby, like yo-yos. Yo-yos are obviously a toy as well, but it has evolved into a hobby that is like competitive. And competitive in a different way, obviously, because Beyblades actually battle. But like they have yo-yo competitions where people, it's more about like choreography. Like more akin to like maybe dancing, I guess. But that's taken, you know, pretty seriously too. I wouldn't say that people consider the people that are into that as toy enthusiasts. You know what I mean? So I think this is big. I think for them to be trying to push that many sales, we can expect for X to be around for quite a while. So if you're not into X, expect to be unhappy for the next 5 to 7 years. So that's how long Burst ran, was about 7 years. All the previous series ran for like 4 or 5 years. So hopefully everybody can, you know, give it a chance and get on board. And, you know, if you don't like it, it's unfortunate, but, you know, I mean, it happens. Like, you know, not everybody that liked Plastic Gen liked Metal Fight, you know, etc. So, again, with this image, I'm just going to go ahead and throw this out there. This is the translations were by Kyo, edited by Zenki, so shout out to them. They were the only ones that had this sort of layout up, so I just wanted to briefly show it, so hope they don't mind too much. But yeah, I mean, that's most of the information that we have so far. Again, there's been a lot of like sort of like videos that have come out from the event that happened earlier. And we can kind of look at this a little bit. A lot of people are pre-ordering. Japan's super excited about this so far. I've not seen a ton of negativity coming from Japan. I think everybody's pretty hyped. Everybody's losing their minds over the multi-character. You know, which I think is warranted. I think it's super cool that they're finally giving us a female character that's not locked behind a paywall. So very cool. The ripcord launchers look pretty good as well. I haven't seen anybody actually use the string launcher yet, so I'm curious to see how well that functions as far as the gearing goes, because like the early burst string launchers were not good. But yeah, I mean, that's yet to be seen. But I mean, look how fast these are, guys. That's some big hits. And you can see how hard they're hitting. Like these are not bursting constantly. So those who are like not fans of the burst gimmick, I don't think it's going to be a super common thing. I don't think you have to worry about it too much. I think they look cool, guys. And you know, I don't think this is as gimmicky as 0G, in that I don't think it's going to be as RNG as 0G is. Obviously, like if it hits the gear strip or whatever, it's going to go crazy. But I think that there's going to be a learning curve, and once we get used to it, I think we're going to be able to sort of predictably control these. You know, as much as you can control a Beyblade, right? So that's some crazy, crazy battles here. The launcher grip looks really cool. It's got this sort of slide gimmick. So they'll be very easy to attach and remove, which is great because some of the earlier launchers were not super easy to attach and detach. So here's the way the Beyblades go together. So it seems like they sort of clip and slide in rather than any teeth. So I don't think we're going to have to worry about wear in the same way. So the tips also are going to affect burst resistance as well. So there's going to be quite a bit of customization or variability between customization, despite not having 27 different pieces. There's going to be a lot to think about. So again, we're only getting 4 releases, so there's a lot to be seen. There's a lot they could do. They could do like the tips. They could do like, obviously we're going to get rubber at some point, but they could also do the rubber gearing on the tips as well. So there's a lot of options, a lot of cool stuff coming in the future, I have no doubt. They could also do height variation for these tips as well. And not every tip that they release necessarily is going to have gears. A lot of people are concerned about maybe like wide defense. How do you get wide defense if you have to have that gear? They could just put the gear on the outside of the, like, what would essentially be the WD, where it just lines the outside ridge. So technically be like a little bit wider than a regular wide defense. But that sort of workaround stuff is possible with this system. So don't be afraid that we're going to get, shafted as far as customization goes or as far as like future part variation goes. I think that they can do a lot with this. Make a Man X. So yeah, I think that's about all I have, guys. I was really excited to talk about the new multi-character and the sort of the manga teaser and the direction that it looks like it's going. Really interested to read the first chapter when it comes out. And for those of you guys who are concerned about having to buy everything, I think the smartest thing to do is buy the Stadium set, which comes with the Stadium, the string launcher, and the Dransword, and then buy the deck set, the triple set, which comes with the other 3 releases. They're going to be recolors, but you don't have to buy every release. You can literally just buy the deck set and the Stadium set, and you'll basically be good to go. You can get like an additional string launcher if you want, or whatever, or grip, but I think just starting out, you could just get those 2 items and you'd be good to go. So I know some of the pricing for these are a little bit more expensive, but still reasonable, I think, all things considered. So Beyblade prices haven't increased drastically considering inflation has been pretty insane for the past couple years. So I still think it's not too bad. But yeah, I want to know your guys' thoughts down below. It's obviously been almost 20 hours or something, maybe a little less than that since I posted the last video. But it's just a ton more information. I'm really looking forward to any other little sneak peeks that we get over the next couple weeks prior to the next issue of Koro. I'll definitely be covering the manga when it comes out. 70 pages is insane. It's going to be a great first chapter, I have no doubt. Really looking forward to seeing what they do with the story and the characters, and really looking forward to seeing how they handle distribution in the West, as well as the tournaments. Hopefully we get the same level of tournaments. We can get like G3 tournaments, G2, G1, World Cup type stuff. I really think that the Beyblade hobby lends itself well to that sort of like the sort of esports vibe. I think that's super cool. I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be great. So let me know down in the comments. I'll see you guys in the next one.